Weighed in individually, no one more than 59 kilos, average of 57 for the women. And as ever, this looks to be truly competitive. Some really good outfits here, not least of all in lane number 2, the world champions. But we'll start in lane number 1 with KRISTIN HEDSTROM and Julie Nichols, who were 4th last year. They missed the bronze medal by just 0.6 of a second. They're in lane 1, furthest away from you. In lane number 2, here are the World Championships. Christina Giazitdzidov and Alexandra Tshiavu, and they were world champions also back in 2009. So a tried and tested partnership. For Great Britain, in lane number 3, it's Sophie Hoskins and Catherine Copeland. Catherine Copeland in the stroke seat, coming in for Hester Goodsell, who's not been too well. But not being unkind, probably Catherine Copeland, as a result of the trials, would actually have got this place. Hoskins and Goodsell were bronze medalists last year. Zhu and Huang for China. Huang in the stroke seat, 7th at the last 2 World Championships. Denmark, Julianne Rasmussen for Denmark with Anne Luk Thompson. Julianne, a bronze medalist, one half of their partnership, who got a bronze medalist in 2007. And closest to you, the Dutch, who were 9th last year, Rianne Sigmund and Micah Head. Closest to you in lane number 6. So they go off well. The Dutch on the near side, but they've got some act to follow, as all the Dutch lightweight doubles have had ever since Kirsten van der Kolk decided that Marit van Eupen was never going to persuade her again to come back and challenge for another Olympic medal.
Yeah, it took Marit van Eupen and Kirsten van der Kolk 8 years. 8 years in partnership from 2000 to 2004 up until 2008. It took them 8 years to get that Olympic title, and then they were done. They were finished. They never wanted to be near a lightweight boat again, especially not rowing-wise. And then Micah Head and Rianne Sigmund picked up that mantle and decided to try it out. And they've been reasonably successful. They came in 9th, which was kind of sad because they just missed out for the qualification slot for London.
So the great thing about lightweight sculling as it is here is that everybody really racing on absolutely equal terms. And through the first quarter of this race, over on the very far side, America a little bit off the pace, Greece very much there. Also going with Greece, China's number 1 crew in here of Zhu and Huang. And Zhu and Huang in lane 4. World champions, Zhu with Yan back in 2006 on the very course that will host the regatta, the Olympic regatta, in 80+ days from now. And through the first quarter, Greece, China, Netherlands on the near side. Good start from them. Interesting to see whether they can keep this momentum going. And Great Britain, a little work to do in lane number 3.
Yeah, Christina Giazitdzidov and Alexandra Tshiavu. Very experienced double world champions, the two of them. So they know their deal, but they were surprisingly they were beaten in the semi-finals, beaten I think by that Chinese crew. But they're leading as we speak, and China chasing them on. Netherlands, Denmark, and Great Britain also trying to follow. It's I think it's the USA on the far side, not really able to follow in the footsteps of the other 5 crews.
No, the direct qualifiers for the finals out of the heats, in fact, were China and Great Britain. As you say, a bit surprising that Greece didn't do it the first time, but now very much up with the pace, as you can see it now. China in foreground. As we have a look at the British, Catherine Copeland, who hails from the northeast, very determined, sitting in the straight seat, and behind her there, Sophie Hoskins. Hoskins, who hails from Scotland and was stroking the boat last year, so now goes into the bow seat.
Yeah, Catherine Copeland, of course, winner of last year's under-23 World Championships. Just a glance to the left of Rianne Sigmund, trying to see where the other crews are going.
Yeah, you just saw Julian Rasmussen. I've never seen actually anybody, when she got a bronze medal in 2007, celebrations were mammoth for her, making that medal. It was a big, big moment for the Danes, but the Danes, as ever, are force in lightweight rowing. Greece from China, so the two crews that qualified directly at the moment being headed by the Greeks, who still, from lane number 2, have the advantage. And then you can see Great Britain and China. It's China. Great Britain are to their right, but here you can see this terrific tempo. Now there is unanimity.
Yeah, there's unanimity indeed, and the Greeks, I think they want to prove something. They missed. They didn't qualify directly. Well, they didn't win the semi-final, and now they want to show everyone that they can win and that they're the best crew out here. And they lead by over a boat length from China, and Great Britain now with the push, trying to get back in the second spot, but. There's not much in between, because also the United States come right back. There's Denmark and also Holland right up there. So if the final 500 meters gets going, there might be surprises.
So the harmony of the Greeks has been really effective. You can see the Greeks with the advantage. The United States on the far side. It's a very deceptive angle. It makes the Americans look as if they're really in this, and at the moment they're not really in it. It's Great Britain who are pressing on with China. Great Britain who just about got second place ahead of China, and then range to the Chinese right are Denmark, and now the Chinese coming back on Great Britain. Suddenly the Chinese just lifted their game there, coming through with 500 meters, and here's the Chinese push. And Denmark also, the main sprint is really on now, and this is going to be quite hard to sustain for a full 500 meters.
Yeah, and have they done too much in that first 1,500 meters, or are they still? Is there still some gas in the tank, gas in the Greek tank? It looks like Greece is still in control, but didn't we see that before with the men's pair, where the brothers Gaguntalas were in the lead at this point in the race, and then they just dropped out immediately. So there's still some chance that we'll see some spectacular finish, David.
Again, difficult to see. China on the right of your screen, Great Britain right centre, America on the far side, but it's still the Greeks, and they built up this length advantage, and it should see them home. Great Britain and China having a rare old fight there for second place. America are not that far away, but you can see the angle is deceptive, and we're not seeing the other two boat crews, Denmark and Holland, on the near side. This is pretty competitive, and again the likes of Tracy Cameron and Lindsay Jenrick and from Canada, and Julia Edward and Louise Ayling from New Zealand. There'll be interested parties here. Look at the Danes coming on. The Danes having a right old fight with the Dutch. There you can see the Americans. You can see how deceptive that camera angle was before. They're way out of this, although that picture makes them look as if they're still in there. So apologies for that. It really is a poor picture. And at the moment now, the Dutch and the Danes trying to get into this, but it is the Greeks who are being clawed back here by Great Britain with every stroke as they come to the line, and they just get there, and it's Greece, Great Britain and China. Denmark beat the Netherlands, and the United States finish in 6th place.
Yeah, Denmark really turning into an Angstgegner, an opponent which the Netherlands doesn't want to face, because they beat them last year at the World Championships. They beat them in the repechage, and they beat them again here in the finals. But a good race by Greece. They just held on in the last 100 meters. Great surge from Great Britain to overtake China for the silver slot, and the Chinese indeed in bronze.
Well, interesting the way that the advantage evaporated for the Greeks again. Having built up, they built up enough to keep the advantage to the line. But again, we need to put this into context. You know, we're still 80-plus days away. So there's a lot of finishing work to be done.
There's still a lot to be done indeed. With 80 days, you probably see many of the crews, the majority of the crews, just still